All right, everyone, cue the virtue signaling. So I would just like to say, no, Haiti is totally fine. There's no problems there at all. Evil, bigot, horrible Trump. I just condemn him and deny him so much. Okay, in all seriousness, though, the claim that's being made about what he said that I don't even think has been corroborated, it's like, Haiti is a shitty place to live. Okay. Yeah, he must be a racist for saying that. No, the Democrats have been saying that for the last fucking decade. Oh, there's so much poverty, human trafficking, drug trafficking, systemic violence, political corruption. You know, we should help people. We should take refugees. That's the whole premise. If you're suggesting we need refugees from a country, the suggestion you're making is, hey, that country has been destabilized now, isn't it? Now, if a country is destabilized, if 1 in 10 or some crazy number of the people there are slaves, in the most literal sense, modern slavery is alive and well in Haiti. Several 100,000 slaves in this little tiny area, and more that have been like exported on the human trafficking market to the Middle East especially. Lots of slavery, sex trafficking like prostitution, drug running, making, synthesizing and selling, addiction problems, political corruption, famine, disease. You've got basically every possible problem that you could have in a nation in this little piece of land known as Haiti. Are you honestly going to say that the only reason a person could possibly say, therefore, that it's a shithole is because they're racist? Or could they just possibly actually know something about Haiti? You see, here's the problem. It's just like before, when Trump was like, oh, you know, Haitians are impoverished, and Nigerians, I think he said they lived in huts or something, supposedly, and there was never any corroboration of that either. When he said that, you are trying to tell me that a Manhattan business Democrat billionaire with a master's degree is totally incompetent on foreign affairs. He knows nothing about other nations other than the first world. Okay, that boggles the mind because he's done business in technical third world nations. Like, he's got a skyscraper, I think, in India too. He's got developments all over the world. He's literally makes money by knowing about other countries' financial situations and talking to people in other countries. You're sitting there criticizing him for talking to too many foreigners. Oh, he talked to too many Russians. Must be collusion. Meanwhile, he supposedly knows absolutely nothing about these states. I don't think so. So I don't even believe the report. I don't even think he said this. But if he did, so be it. It's not a lie. Haiti's a terrible place that's full of misery and poverty. Most of the people in Haiti don't have enough to eat. Most of them don't have access to proper medical care. There is widespread problematic famine and disease and corruption and crime in Haiti. What don't you get about it? Now, if he had said this about like Macedonia, he'd also be right. Macedonia, impoverished, underdeveloped, lot of political corruption, low freedom index ranking, as though that matters. Supposedly they think Germany's high on the freedom index, so fuck them, basically. If he had said it about Macedonia, you know, a white nation, he would also be right, and nobody would have had a problem with it. Nobody would be saying, oh, what a racist. Don Lemon comes out to virtue signal, says, oh, our president is a racist. Bullshit. You don't know anything about the situation. You don't even know that he said this. Where's the corroboration? Where's the source? What source did this come from? Here's a big problem that I have with unsourced stuff. The First Amendment protects the ability of basically a corporation to simply smear somebody, essentially, and then claim in a court, hey, we don't have to reveal our source, but we've got one. Well, prove it. Well, no, we don't have to reveal our source. You know, it's journalistic privilege. Our journalists don't have to reveal their sources. It's confidential. It's private. You can't know. So essentially, you can smear anyone that you want and just hide behind that screen. How very, very convenient if you want to take down a presidency. You can claim basically anything you want about them. No, I don't trust the corporate media to have integrity when it comes to such things, because it wouldn't make sense for them. They're losing money because the president won't give them an interview, scoops them on Twitter, and derides them all day. No shit, they're going to try to make up bullshit about him if they can. They're not going to get caught because there's no actual source. There's no paper trail. There's no electronic trail. If worse comes to worse, they'll have one of their own journalists go to a fucking payphone, make the call with a voice masking program, and say, oh, this is our source. Yeah, we don't know who it is. They didn't give us the name, but they gave us the story. We just reported on it. We don't make the news. We just report it. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, Don Lemon should shut the fuck up. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a virtue signaling SOB. And as far as the report, I don't believe it. Nope, absolutely not. Let's say, though, it's correct. Let's say Trump comes out tomorrow and says, yeah, I said that. he'll say, well, no, Haiti's a wonderful place. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't know anything about Haiti because I'm an ignorant fuck-up. An ignorant fuck-up with billions of dollars who won the presidency. But, okay, I'm an ignorant fuck-up, a fat slob, a total right-wing bigot. I'm sorry about this. I didn't know anything about Haiti. On second thought, I looked on Wikipedia and determined that Haiti's actually wonderful. I was wrong. It's better than Norway. Now, that's funny. When Democrats were saying after Trump won, hey, I'm going to leave the U.S. because Trump won. Ooh, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be horrible. He's an evil Nazi. Third World War is coming. I need to get out of here. So corrupt. Did any of them say, hey, I'm going to Haiti? Or where did they say they were going to go to? Oh, Canada. That's odd. Australia. The UK. Some of them said Japan, actually. New Zealand. Okay. You do realize that all 4 countries on top of that list are predominantly white English-speaking nations. That's very funny. So who's obsessed with this concept? Look, Trump didn't mention race at all. He didn't say anything about race. You intoned that. You assumed that he was saying this about Haiti because it's a black nation. Well, no, maybe it's because he's actually got eyes, and he can read news reports. He knows how to read. He's literate. And he understands that Haiti has desperate problems. By the way, Clinton Foundation's there. They're saying, oh, I'm going to help people. I'm going to help them. Red Cross claims building a bunch of houses that apparently most of them were never built. Now, the Clinton Foundation, when Clinton was involved in Libya went from being a developed and almost first world nation to total collapse. Gets involved in Syria and a developing halfway decent nation, authoritarian, yes, but, stability-wise, halfway decent, has a medical apparatus, has jobs, has marginal wealth in marginally larger numbers of hands than a tin horn regime typically does. The Clinton foreign policy marches in there, destroys it. Now it's sub-third world. Egypt, again, developing, semi-developed, and at least in urban areas, doing fairly well by the standards of the region. Clintonian foreign policy through Obama gets involved, Muslim Brotherhood takes over, intertribal and sectarian conflict breaks out, military law breaks out. I think they lost like 1/3 of their GDP over the course of a couple years. Astronomical. They've just barely begun to get back to where they were before the Muslim Brotherhood fiasco there. Now Haiti. Haiti is already collapsed. It was already sub-third world. Then the earthquake hits. They collapse even further. Clinton gets involved and nothing happens, and now they're even worse off. There are people in Haiti who supplement their diet by taking literally clay and chewing on it. You're trying to tell me that that nation doesn't have absolute massive systemic problems. And by the way, the Democrats are cutting off their nose to spite their face making this argument. They're basically intoning, no, it's not a shithole. Haiti's fine. Okay, then why are we taking refugees from this nation? You don't take refugees from a nation unless it's chronically underdeveloped and has significant problems. The fact is that Haiti has unlivable conditions for a large proportion of the population. Therefore, you're like, oh, well, we need to take refugees. Now, I don't think that. I think we need to invest in their infrastructure and hopefully solve the problem on a somewhat more stable and permanent basis. Simply giving food aid is just going to keep them impoverished because it suppresses all farmers. A farmer can't compete with free. Someone comes in and starts giving people free food. All the people who want to be paid for their food, they would have to work to actually produce it. They're not going to make any money. No one's going to buy it from them. It's not going to happen. Same thing is true with the medical apparatus. We've suppressed that too. So nobody's going to go to a Haitian doctor, someone trained in Haiti, when they can go to the tent set up by the Red Cross and get first world medical care. It's just not going to happen. And so we've actually helped to destroy Haiti more and suppress it and keep it impoverished. Meanwhile, people want to chalk it up to race to note that there are actually problems. And no, taking care of problems requires that you admit that there are problems. Chalking Trump's statement up to he must be a racist, it's the most intellectually dishonest thing so far that I think the legacy media has done on this particular statement. And also, WikiLeaks and Veritas came out and said, isn't it funny that this takes over the entire Twitter sphere and everything else in the immediate wake of our revelation about Twitter censorship? Yeah, it is a little bit odd. Maybe they wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But no, I'd side with Trump on this one. His statement's not correct. Look, unless I presume him to be bigoted, which doesn't make any sense, I'm not going to assume that this is a bigoted statement to make. It's not. It's simple truth. He's not mentioning race. Has nothing to do with that. Look, people are casting it, they're saying that this statement is corroborated by the fact that he supposedly said other equally uncorroborated bigoted statements several weeks ago. And the only reason that they even took those seriously is because the legacy media for a year now said, oh, Trump is a bigot, he's ignorant, He's so out that he's a racist. All of his fans are racist. MAGA's a racist term. Everything about him is racist. It's a good thing that after tax time, a lot of people will no longer be taking this seriously. Yeah. You can look for them to maybe try to make one last move to sever his candidacy and really stomp him out before tax time. But, word on the street is it won't be effective because his hardened core fan base is about a third, apparently, of the American public. And just think those polls include people that are apolitical, and some of them probably approve of him, too. No, Trump's no bigot. And if he made this statement, no, it's true. It's not exactly false now, is it? Do you want to move to Haiti? Hell, you wouldn't even want to move to Venezuela either. If he said it about Venezuela, he'd probably say, oh, he hates Hispanics. No, maybe he's looking at the news about Venezuela, about hyperinflation and widespread poverty to the point where zoo animals are getting slaughtered and eaten. Maybe that's why he's calling it names. It's not because of the people. Maybe he feels sorry for them. I bet he feels sorry for the Haitians for having to deal with the Clinton Foundation. He has to deal with Clinton too. It's no walk in the park exactly. She likes to act up and whine. Yeah. It's a really funny story, though. People are acting like it's the end of the world. Oh, our president is a racist. He's a bigot. Again, what proof do you have of this? I don't mean an unsourced quote from an anonymous, source in the White House, supposedly, fed through a media organization that spars with Trump every day. I mean, where's the actual evidence that he is a bigot? I see none. People are saying, I remember 6 months ago, one of these left-wing pundits was like, oh, we have a tape of Trump saying the N-word. We have reliable reports that this exists. Oh, no, that's funny. Where is it? I thought it was going to be big news. Wow. You definitely want to release that. That would crush his presidency in an instant. So where's this tape that you claimed existed? I wonder why it was never released. Could it be it doesn't exist? It's just a defamation attempt? We're never going to hear who the sources are within the White House because chances are for most of these stories there are none. The story's not real. The quote's not real. He never said it. They said Trump has not denied that he said this, like he's going to give you the time of day. If he denies it, is it really going to change things? Is any person who dislikes Trump actually going to believe him? He says, no, I didn't say that about Haiti. No, they're going to say, he's lying. He's lying. The president's a liar, too. He's not just a bigot. He's a lying bigot. That's what you're going to say. He's not going to play your game. It's a bunch of bullshit. And I've seen them. They're trying to do this to the alt media, too. They tried to do it to me the other day. That's why I don't agree that we should have more Norwegians in the country necessarily. Because I know at least one that I was sparring with is very, very goofy. But, that's a totally different issue. I'm not even bother talking about that shit. Because it's literally the same fucking thing. It looks like MAGA populism is kind of the odd man out. It's like they're so terrified of it. It's like they ignore the far right. They ignore maybe the Antifa left. They're going to fixate on lukewarm MAGA populism or marginal monarchist libertarianism like that's the greatest threat that the nation has ever faced. They're only interested in defaming like Trumpites. It's getting a little bit weird politically, to tell the truth. But who fucking cares? Trump probably never said it. If he did, he was right anyway. And, you'd have to assume that he's racist in order to chalk it up as a racist statement. Haiti's not a race. Haiti is a nation, a failed state with a very weak central government in which foreign groups primarily are the ones exercising power. It doesn't even have self-determination at the moment. It's overrun with problems. Crime, famine, disease, and slavery. Cartel activity. What more needs be said? Would you want to live there? No, and most Haitians don't want to live there either. That's why they want to take refugees from Haiti. Self-fucking-explanatory, isn't it? Bunch of virtue-signaling moralist idiots. You probably want Haiti to remain poor so you can continue justifying the Clinton Foundation running drugs from it, probably. That's about all. Peace out.